Buongiorno, good morning. Welcome to the Italian panel on Italy and Expo. We'll start with an entertaining video which tells us about
the Universal Exposition. It is a global event with a high educational content, which focuses on one specific theme. The first Expo took place in London in 1851, while Paris built the Eiffel Tower for the occasion in 1889. Today, after more than a century, the ideals behind Expo remain unchanged. The aim is to diffuse knowledge, improve human living conditions, facilitate meetings between people, and help cooperation between states. Expo takes place every 5 years. Each country puts together a pavilion relating to the theme of the Expo to highlight its scientific achievements and cultural strengths, its products and traditions. Today, more than 130 countries have confirmed their participation in Expo 2015. Feeding the planet, energy for life is the theme of Expo Milan 2015, the Universal Exposition which will be located in Milan. Feeding the planet, energy for life will tackle two fundamental issues of the third millennium: how to create the conditions in which to provide sufficient and healthy food for mankind, and how to guarantee sustainability, i.e., how to maintain the delicate balance between man, land, water, and air. Throughout the exhibition, visitors will be shown many different topics, from agriculture to science, from nutrition to environmental issues. Expo Milan 2015 will be a voyage through history and the future, a fascinating tale of topical journeys, scientific and artistic events, but also one of games and education for young adults and children. Visitors will be taken through areas dominated by water, trees, and environments representing each continent, and the most modern technologies used to enhance our quality of life. The pavilions will display tendencies, lifestyles, and traditions from the different continents, and aim to steer humanity towards more virtuous practices regarding agriculture, nutrition, and environmental issues. Expo Milan 2015 will also be a place where scientists, governments, technicians, and businesses worldwide can envision a sustainable world where nature and development, innovation and tradition are linked together. Food quality and safety represent the future of humanity and a guarantee for world peace. The message that Expo Milan 2015 wishes to convey to the planet is the importance of fighting hunger in the world, of eradicating the causes of incorrect nutrition, and how to prevent the increase of new social illnesses linked to overeating.
So food and hospitality are strictly linked, and Milan Expo organization set up a dedicated DMO which is going to vitalize and build up for future legacy all a system which our friend Josef Jarke, CEO Explorer, will now explain us about. You have already? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Thank you very much for him here. Probably the 2015 that will be a very good year for the tourism in Italy. But the reality is a great event is a fantastic opportunity for our destination, but our objective is to develop, to increase the tourism after the Expo. For this reason, has born Explora. Explora is a special destination management organization that our goal is to promote and transform the tourist organization. Probably we will have 20 million visitors and probably foreign 6-8 million. 50% that is foreign visitors that will be European, but the other we want to attract the other countries, especially the BRICS and the new interesting markets like, for example, Turkey, Kazakhstan, etc., etc. What is the reason? The reason is the legacy. Great event normally have an interesting legacy with more infrastructures, more beds offer, but basically more attractivity. In our case, Explora work with the tourism sector to develop the Milan attractivity. And our objective is to introduce Milan for the future with the most important city tourist capitals in Europe. This is the reason because we work together with the hoteliers, with the chambers of commerce, etc., to introduce and to make better the opportunity to the business for the investors.
Okay, Magda. Given the fact that we have over 100 countries, non-European countries, you as an advisor to the EU Commission for Tourism, how do you see this as an opportunity for Europe and Italy particularly? Are there any action in place?
Well, let's go back a bit of what has been said yesterday and this morning from the international representative and on the growth of travel industry. Well, Europe, the Commission in Europe recognize still how to keep the role of Europe as first destination in the world, and what we can do for, I'm speaking about Expo, but also for example, another very important international which will be the France 2016 UEFA football or soccer championship and so on. Well, how can we remove some constraint for making the travel easier? So the first problem is the visa problem, and that is essential in order to increase arrivals. And the second one will be more connected with, in general, let's say, how to increase information. And so ICT will be the second issue on that point. So to go back very quickly, since we don't have enough time, to the visa problem, that is essential, and Europe is working in order to give more flexible rules, but it's not a theory. Let's say this is already a practical point, because the Commissioner for Home Affairs, Cecilia Malmström, is already doing a lot in doing new visa, let's say, electronic project in order to encourage, for example, Chinese. And also, for example, we are estimating for 2015, and speaking about Europe, 46 million additional international arrivals. That means 60 billion of euros in GDP and 500,000 of direct jobs. So to give an idea, that is very relevant, and we are already on the way for that. It's not the Commission on Tourism and on industry, on enterprise. And on the other side, I should also point out the problem of the traffic of the flights, because that is another challenge in boosting traveling to Europe. And for the 6 months of the year of Expo, we have an agreement, Open Sky, in order to overcome the issues related to the bilateral agreement. So Europe is really working very hard on that. And another point, maybe we go back later on, yes, is on new technologies, how those can help in order to foster tourism.
Thank you, Magda, for your contribution. Just to mention the characteristics of the country, we have 42 international airports, 1,400 high-speed railways, 368 golf courses, and we are #1 in the world for UNESCO heritage sites with 49 certificated destinations. How is this going to boost the demand for investment in the future, given the fact that Expo will be a catalyst of the attention from so many non-European countries? Who would you like to give some comment on this? Justin? Sure. Justin Smalters is developer manager for Starwood Europe.
From our perspective, Expo is a one-time event. It's a great opportunity, but I think the real opportunity there is to build for the long term. And everyone knows Rome, Venice, Florence, Milan, but the real future of Italy in terms of tourism lies in all of the other destinations that haven't really been discovered yet. I think Expo is a great opportunity to showcase those destinations and bring them on the radar of world travelers. You know, from a Starwood perspective, you know, we've been operating hotels in Italy for a very long time. And we're owners of hotels in Italy as well, and we're very bullish on the Italian hotel market. You know, I think that there are a lot of emerging destinations, and you know, Rome, Florence, Venice, Milan are covered to a certain extent. We're now looking to new destinations that are going to be attractive to our customer base. So in the south, for instance, you know, I think that Apulia, Sardinia, and Sicily are certainly top of our list in terms of destinations that are the new great destinations of Italy. But also in the north, I mean, you have the potential to have great ski resorts, for example, similar to Austria, Switzerland, and France. And you know, that's also another opportunity. And then you have Piemonte, Tuscany, Umbria, you have wine, gastronomy, and the Made in Italy label. So I think that there's a lot of potential.
Okay, thank you, Justin. We'll see then what kind of help banks can offer to such a vision. It would be very interesting. Meanwhile, I think it's essential to give perspective of the structure of the offer. Actually, Italy accounts for over 1 million rooms. The number of hotels is over 33,000, nearly 34. We are seeing certain consolidation, but President of the Italian Hotel Chain Association, Giorgio Palmucci, will give us his opinion on such numbers.
Well, thank you. The number of hotels is high, and as you can see, the number, there's just a small part of the hotels are 4 and 5 stars. And but 10 years ago, it was exactly the same. But the difference is that in the past 10 years, we had a process of renewal, and we can say that the number of 4 and 5 stars rooms has increased by 40%. That means that there are rooms to invest and to develop, and we know that on these 1 million rooms, there are about 500,000 rooms to be renovated. And it's important to know if you have to invest in our country, in our hotel industry.
Thank you. So going on with describing the characteristics of the country, we are number 5 as a worldwide destination for tourism. And I think there are perspectives for next year to maybe climb one position, Magda?
Yes, I mean, the numbers are quite clear. With Expo, we will move, and it has been estimated that we move one class or one will change in one size higher. From the international point of view, we have, for example, something very strange for the tourism in Italy. We spoke about increasing culture, owing to our culture, heritage, and so on. But, for example, in Milan, we can assist a huge increase in leisure tourism, while we keep the same standard level for the business tourism. So we are really increasing in some, which are not niche, more than niche, some segments, and also on the motivation, on the experience of the tourism and so on. We are really increasing quite a lot in the last year. I'm speaking mainly from the international point of view, from the international arrival, more than the national one.
Okay. Thank you, Magda. I think it's now the moment to introduce you, Alfredo De Falco, Head of Financial Advisory, UniCredit Italy, which is one of the largest banks in the country and in Europe, and is very much involved in the hotel business. Alfredo, would you like to comment on the slides we saw on the speeches we had?
Good morning to everybody. Well, the first thing I would mention is regarding the number of rooms we have in Italy and the stake, let's say the share of this room that need to be renovated, as just mentioned. We are going to support this renovation, and we just launched a new project presented together with the Hotel Association a few days ago, where UniCredit is offering a 300 million euro plafond, which is going to be dedicated to hotel renovations. It is it's focused on more on, let's say, small, mid-sized kind of facilities where we think there's the higher need of renovation. So first thing I would mention is that we are going to support with new resources this need, which we think is a very important one. At the same time, as far as UniCredit is concerned, let me say that we have been involved, as mentioned by Marco, in financing the industry. We are in, say, some good and also bad situation where restructuring are needed, and this is part of, obviously, of the history of the industry and the economic crisis we faced in the last few years. But we are seeing good sign of recovery, and we are not getting out of the industry in terms of support. We want to even more now focus on it, since we again see the room for recovery. We have learned from the mistake we did in the past. So where we are focusing now, what we want to do, what we don't want to do, and we will not do in the future. So first of all, we will more and more focus on location. Of course, we don't want to focus only and finance only, say, the top locations. There's room, I agree, for unexploited location, but we need to understand clearly what is the driver behind it. Otherwise, you can make the same mistake we did in the past. Of course, we will focus on art cities, on top holiday destination, and business cities, mainly Rome and Milan. Secondly, I would say we will focus even more, probably much more than in the past, on the operator experience. So the sponsor and the operator and the management. We need professional players. We need experienced players with a clear track record in the industry, and preferably, depending on the type of investment, with some international experience. So again, we're not going to support an inexperienced operator. Again, mistake already done. Now we want to focus on the experienced one. So we're cherry picking on that. That's more the, let's say, qualitative, soft side of it. Of course, there's also the more technical and financial side of our analysis. On that side, let me say that we're also changing a little bit the approach. In the past, we've been more looking at the industry as, say, with a real estate financing approach, which we think is not correct, is not paying off. What we are now, say, more focusing on is, say, a cash flow lending type of approach. So we want more and more focus on the real cash flow potential of the investment, rather than on the real estate value and on the loan to value or loan to cost, whatever you wanna call it or say it. And definitely, let me say that ultimately we will switch from looking at loan-to-value type of ratios versus cash flow ratios, such as the debt service coverage ratios. I mean, I don't want to get too technical, but we will look at how the cash flow basically is capable to cover the financial needs. I will stop here. Maybe we can discuss some more features later on.
Thank you, Alfredo. It would be nice if anybody in the audience would like to ask questions or make comments to what has been just said. It seems like a paradigm shift for our country. See rumors about leaving the only past use condition, which was a lease. Justin, what's your opinion after what you heard from Alfredo?
I guess to ask the direct question, Alfredo, does that mean that you're going to be open to looking at management agreements instead of strictly leases, which has been predominantly the market focus by developers and banks in Italy over the last 10 years or so?
Yeah, thank you, Justin, for your question. Is a crucial point to us. I think the lease, well, we've learned that lease is basically an illusion of, you know, stable cash flow. So also on that side, we are more than open, and I would say actually preferring hotel management agreements. More and more, we are financing this type of, say, structures. I agree with you. In the past, banks, not only UniCredit, banks were probably more comfortable with lease type of agreement because of the, say, expected stability, even if we learned that it again is illusionary, because in the end you need the hotel to perform, otherwise you're going to be in a bad situation in any case. So the answer is absolutely yes. At the same time, we are focusing more on the technicality of the agreement. Let me just mention one clause which is very important to us, is the performance test. Obviously, we need the right to intervene if the hotel is not performing according to the expectation, to the projection, and eventually to have a breakup clause. Otherwise, you can only be a spectator. So we don't want to be a macro manager. We don't want the owner micromanaging the hotel, but we want him to oversee and have the right to step in if things are not going in the right direction.
Okay, any example you want to quote?
Well, let me say that on the basis of all the factors that have been mentioned, we have seen some new interest coming from international investors. I can mention a few transactions, and in some cases we've been supporting this transaction. I mean, I'm sure you remember the Eden transaction where we've been negotiating for a long time, but finally it has been done. And
no, I don't remember that.
But finally, I think for everybody, we're happy about the outcome. So selling the asset to the Brunei investors. But it's not been the only deal. We've been involved and seeing some other major transactions, such as the Qatar investing on the Four Seasons in Florence, the Qatar again in Costa Smeralda in Sardinia. You just mentioned, Justin. Some Russian investors so some of them are not finished yet, are not complete, so not public, but one of them is already public, which is the Forte Village management company acquisition by Russian investors. So I think it's pretty clear that new money are coming back, let me say, to Italy. And this is obviously the result not only of the specific industry, but more generally of the macroeconomic environment, which is undergoing a normalization process. So obviously we are benefiting of the, again, normalization process. So there's no more the breakup kind of risk that we're seeing a couple of years ago before the Draghi speech. And also we are benefiting, and we think we will benefit out of the, say, recovery of European economy, generally speaking. We saw the forecast this morning. I mean, there are countries which are growing much more than Italy. Fair enough. I mean, it's a good news for us. I mean, these people will come to Italy for vacation or for business, and it's good. So I think, again, the industry will benefit on both sides. More specific factors, industry-specific factors, and more macroeconomic general issues.
Thank you, Alfredo. I think Magda would like to comment.
Yes, just I mean, finance first, of course, but I would like to add something which, from a macro point of view, not from the micro and financial point of view, which can be relevant. I think that we are in a magic moment now for Italy, also for something else, not just to have a huge bank, the biggest bank involved, but also because we are having that the small and medium-sized enterprise hotellery in Italy is working on a kind of consolidation project, because we have a kind of aggregation, rated impresa, network, how to put together small and medium-sized hotels also at the destination level with other promoting tourist products. So that is also can be very relevant from this point of view, not just the financial, but is a kind of aggregating point, because sometimes we think in terms of huge chains, but we really have huge, I mean, the biggest chains, international chains, but we also have many small and medium-sized hotels involved in how to grow, and that is can be a very important issue.
Well, some numbers we collect with STR Global in Italy show that performances in 2013 compared to the previous year were quite good. We had an increase in RevPAR. It's interesting, though, to have a track record of what we are coming from. We are seeing in the second part of 2013 a recovery in terms of occupancy, but you can see that we are not yet back at the 2007 level, even if there are all the opportunities in the marketplace, especially for next year with Expo, to surpass these 2007 numbers, which in some cities and in some clusters have already been achieved, Venice to name one. ADR-wise, this is, of course, a trend which is very difficult to recover, difficult to go back to previous levels, generally speaking, nationally speaking, with exceptions. Exception we have seen in Venice, in Rome, in Milan, which is turning to become a leisure destination with lots of upper market spenders. They're one of the main reasons for visitors to come to Milan is no longer business, is shopping. Shopping, shopping and shopping, or shopping connected to business, both had made the hotel occupancy very high in the weekends, and it's a trend which has been consolidated in the last 4 years. To give you some other STR data which give you a perspective, these are the levels, the ADR levels for segments. So 377 in the luxury segment, 133 in the upper upscale, 91 in the upscale, 86 in the upper mid-scale, and 60 in the mid-scale economy. On the latter, I think there's some positive sign of recovery, because the demand is growing, the offer isn't simply there, and there are new opportunities in the market which are growing. Who would like to, would Magda like to add some on this, or Giorgio?
Very quickly, usually we look at the top, the big spender or the big hotels, but we also, I mean, here we are speaking with an average figures, but we have also many budget hotels performing very well in Italy and also in every place. So the idea of having also a kind, I mean, the average is done by many, let's say, very low-class hotels which are disappearing from the number, from the I don't want to be so rude, but the idea, to be short, is that, while we have increasing a huge number of budgeting hotel and middle-scale hotels, they're performing very well, so that can be relevant to point out.
It's true, it's very important. At the same time, it's important to say that for us, 2013, it was good news, because for the first time we had a growth. But it's important to remember that this growth is thanks to the tourists coming from abroad. Because for the moment, the economic crisis in Italy, well, the number of Italian is still stagnant.
Suffering.
and suffering. And it was thanks to all the tourists coming from abroad that we have the first, but we are so far from 2007.
Okay. Just to continue on this subject, it's interesting for the audience. I've seen faces who were here at our panel last year. So you might remember that we were talking about Taormina as a case study in the south of Italy, very negligible destination, very difficult to reach, airports being more than an hour from the destination, in Sicily, not very well connected internationally, not connected at all intercontinentally, but in presence of the right operators and the right investments, performance are there. You can see the dramatic growth. It's a constantly growing for the fourth consecutive year. And the demand is 80% foreign driven. So Giorgio, you were absolutely right. There are a number of opportunities similar to this in our country. Maybe, Justin, you would like to come back on what you just said at the beginning. How are you going to look and to approach the Italian market? Which kind of strategy do you have in place? Are you looking for properties to renovate, newly built, what else?
Well, I mean, as far as Taormina is concerned, I think that it's a great example of how international brands can help to create or recreate or build destinations. Hotels are direct ways of marketing destinations and bringing them on the radars of travelers all over the world. So I think that when you bring a brand in, a strong luxury brand like Orient Express or Belmond, as they're now called, I think that brings a destination to people that they didn't actually understand was really there. So hotels definitely play a key part in building destinations, and I think that as we look for the new destinations in Italy, hotels, on the luxury side specifically, are going to play a key role in building those destinations. So, I mean, having the money there to finance the hotels, building the hotels, and getting the marketing out is all part of the story. In terms of what we're doing, I mean, Italy's a bit unique for us because we, through our acquisition of Chiga in 1994, we still own real estate, which is different than most of the other international operators. Our company strategy is clearly to dispose of as much of our own real estate as we can. But over the last few years, Starwood and our hotel owners, our partners, have invested a tremendous amount of money in our Italian hotels, upwards of 200 million euros in terms of renovations and repositioning. So, for the short term, we're going to continue to be owners of real estate in Italy, but I think our real value add for owners is on the management front. We have a huge team in Italy. We have a lot of infrastructure. We have experience across the spectrum of brands, both from top-end luxury to mid-scale, and we have a strong team in place.
Great. Any of these points you see on the map right now as your target for the near future you want to anticipate?
Well, as I said in the beginning, I think that Sicily is someplace that we'd like to further develop some hotels. It's south enough to have great weather for the most part of the year. It's got a lot of UNESCO heritage sites. Infrastructure is getting better now that Comiso Airport is open. So you have Comiso and you have Catania, and I think that between Ragusa, Taormina, Siracusa, there's a lot of potential there, and certainly attractive things from a tourist perspective.
Yeah. What about golf? Is anybody in the audience in the golf business? No. Do you see any development in the golf business in Italy, given the number of golf courses existing?
Yeah, golf is always it's always an interesting discussion.
It's said that Turkey is attracting golfers, but they have 1/3 of the fields we have in the golf courses we have in Italy.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is happening? Could it be replicated in Italy?
I think that golf is a sport for tourism is something that still has to be built up over time. I mean, as a luxury hotel operator, We have a lot of our hotels that have, golf courses associated with them. I think that the golf courses are a great incentive. They're a great feature for hotels. I'm not sure how much business they drive in the short term, just because the population of golfers around the world is only so specific. And I think that the trend of people learning to play golf, the trend of golf courses being developed, probably is not aligned. And there are a lot of golf courses around the world, and there's only a smaller population of golfers. So I think that over time, golf probably becomes an important part of the tourism story. I'm just not sure how much it actually drives in the short term.
Okay, thank you. And Joseph, are you with Explora evaluating the heritage, the UNESCO heritage, besides the Lombardy region, which has got a couple, also for the entire country, will give you more visibility to foreign countries?
Well, for us, the culture tourism and the UNESCO heritage is it's only an upgrade, because we think that the tourism increase for the future that will be with the MICE tourism, the city break tourism, and obviously they are cities. In this case, for example, the Gulf, for the Lombardy, for the Piedmont and the Veneto region is interesting, but we need to combine the opportunities about the Gulf with another attractivities. This is the reason, because we work together with the sector, with the chambers of commerce, to organize our portfolio. We think that Italy needs to change the mentality, change the market approach, and we need to organize a new offer with experiential tourism. For this reason, our job is it's to promote with a growth investment in marketing. Our investment for the next 2 years is 10 and 12 million euro in marketing activities. Obviously, basically, only for the foreigner markets, not for the Italian markets. For us, our objective is the international tourist flows. With European is an important market for us, but the new markets like Russia, Scandinavia is an interesting market, but it's not a typical Italian market. Sicily is an example of this situation. I think, Justin, this is the situation. But another new markets, India, Brazil, Canada, USA, etc., etc. In this point of view, our job, our objective, our goals is to increase the destination reputation, the destination brand, and to present Italy like new destinations. Italy is not Venice, Florence, and Roma. Italy is another, this is important for us, this destination is important for us, but we think that will be the possibilities to increase our tourist flows with the other tourist experiences. We will to develop the MICE. Milan, for example, is an interesting opportunity for the MICE. Now is for us the congresses and the meetings is an interesting, but not the good situation. And we think that will be interesting to develop this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you, Joseph. Magda,
Marco, if I may, just sorry to jump in, but since I'm from Naples, Campania, I would add to the regions mentioned by Justin also this amazing region where you can have a fantastic mix of arts and natural beauty. Of course, there are fantastic hotels there, but I think there's a lot of room to grow in that specific region.
We like Capri a lot.
Yeah.
Well, as STI Global, we track the Amalfi Coast, and next year we'll speak about the Amalfi Coast, which is performing extremely well. Absolutely. Magda, any information regarding any government program in facilitating investors, some golden citizenship, some tax?
Well, I spoke about the Rated Impresa, which is a network for small, but not just for hotels, and that is very relevant and will represent the future. I mean, we have something new in the last time. If we start to have a stable government, can be useful to help us in that. But I also, what we are doing, I would like to move from the national level to the European, still to the European level, because we have a very important project which will change something in the next years. Now it's still a pilot. It will be concluded in a few months, and then it will start really to be on the operative, and which is the tourist link. Actually, up to now, we didn't speak yet about ICT, but one of the most important and the relevant issues is related to also for the brand Europe, but for Italy, for export and so on, is related to the ICT point. So how to give information and how to perform. So from this point of view, Europe is involved in Tourism Link. It's a very important project. We are going to present it in the next door hotel right now in 1 hour time. It's just to have open standards from representation and communication, but also information for operational transaction. So it's a B2B platform, but it's very important in the harmonization and rationalization of the tourism supply. So what we say up to now, also related to the hotels, the accommodation industry and so on, is how to put in touch demand and supply, not just through the, I'm not speaking about OTA, OTA and so on, but we are really speaking about competitiveness for tourist destination, because people, consumer, but also the business sector wants to know more about the destination, what the tourists can do, how to package new products and so on. Also in self-tailored packaging. Now I'm speaking about B2B, but that will be translated also in the B2C. So we have a huge European project, a lot of money put on that, and that will represent the next future, and we really believe that it can be important, starting from other projects which are going on from the Expo point of view, but that is not my business to speak about that.
So Magda, you're saying that you're launching some new seeds which could fight the growing predominancy of the OTAs, which are eroding margins in the hotel operator.
In the plenary session, we just had the CEO of the most important chain saying that. I'm not saying that. But actually, up to now, what we have seen, also in some research at European level, is that we had the big chains going on their own in selling and in giving information, and the small a bit in the moving in the shadow and so on. Now what can be done is to move, also giving through technologies is a tool for everybody, moving in such a direction. What is strange, since we are working on pilot projects now, what is really strange that the first people interested in that, they were Amadeus, they were Booking.com and so on. So they already saw the business behind that, and for the other operators, accommodation first, I mean, the floor is open.
Okay. Giorgio, would you like to comment on this? Because there are great opportunities going on.
It's sure, and it's great opportunities, and it's very important because we try, like, as an association, we try to facilitate, to operate as facilitator to encourage investment in our hotel industry. And it's very important to know that what Magda said about the Rated Impresa, because it's something very interesting. We in Confindustria, we work on a Rated Impresa because it's an easier way to work together. As we said, the size of our hotel is very small. And it's very important to find something easy to create, to operate, and to promote our hotels all over the world. Otherwise, a single independent hotel has not the power to the finance to invest in promote the destination and his hotel abroad. And at the same time, we tried we work to explain and repeat to our governments at all the public institutions to understand the importance of the tourism, because we always talk about the importance of tourism, the importance of Italy like destination, but this is clear in our heads, but it's not always clear in the heads of our governments, and especially if you, I think that about the promotion, we need to find, to size the growth of the tourism industry, and thanks to Expo 2, but we have to promote Italy, the brand Italy, and it was a decision of our previous governments to promote only regional destination, and to some region invest money to promote a single destination, a single region. But if we'd like to attract new flows from these countries, it's very difficult that Chinese or Indians knows Lombardy, Basilicata, and Calabria, but it's important to promote Italy like destination. And Europe in Europe. Italy in Europe, of course. And as an association, we try to explain it, and we see that some initiatives are growing, and in public institutions. For example, I see that when I talk about the importance of renovating our hotels, there are some regions they provided the resources to invest, like Lombardia. We saw last week, and at the same time, I just give two examples. There is a Fondo Strategico Italiano. Fondo Strategico Italiano is 80% Cassa Depositi Prestiti, that is deposit and loans fund, and 20% of Bank of Italy, that they operate as an institutional investor to encourage investment in Italy. And only at the end of 2013, they decided to focus on tourism too. And it's important because it's a institutional investor for a long term. And at the same time, there is also l'Agenzia del Demanio, that is the state property offices that manage the state's real estate assets. They decided to launch a project named Valore Dimore, which provides the possibility to use some historical and artistic sites as a hotel with the investment, but it's very important because it's not only in the major attraction destination, but also in something that everyone talk about, the importance of undiscovered areas that are not so far from the major destination, but you have to discover.
Yeah. Well, probably the land cost, the building cost, it's such a low level that make them profitable once they are developed. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at a lot of the Demanio assets. Some of them are suitable for hotels, some aren't. I'm not sure how much success they've had so far, and I know they've developed a couple of hotels, but I think it continues the model of having small hotels in Italy, which is, it's a bit of a difficult model, I think. So I think that Demanio is it's a great initiative, and obviously the government needs it to pay down debt, but I'm not sure that a lot of the assets are going to be big stories for hotels.
Okay. So anybody wants to ask a question from the audience?
What happened to the hotels later after the expo? Thank you very much. What is going to happen to the hotel projects after the expo? You're expecting 20,000 million visitors next year. So where are you going to put them?
Well, now, last year, we increased 6% the number of hotels in Milan. Our objective is to increase in the next 3 years after the Expo, the 10%, more or less 10-12% the number of international flows. Our objective is to maintain the level of occupancy first, but second, the profitability. Why? Basically, working to promote the destination, not only with the city, art city, but with transforming Milan like a city break destination, MICE destination, and obviously the shopping destination. This is our strategy. More or less, our goal is working with the hotels to develop the new attractivity, to increase the RevPAR in the next. Our objective basically is after the Olympic Games, working to maintain the same level like the more or less 12% that international flows are about. Okay?
I think Magda would like to add something.
Thanks for the question, because I did personally with my university the research in order for the tender of the Expo. And what was very funny, but also Italian Milan hotels and Lombardy didn't understand at that time, is what we checked. How was the stock of hotels, rooms, and so on? And we projected for the 2015 with a 2.5% every medium growth every year, the average growth every year, and we are already overcome that figure. So what we are doing is not just to think for the Expo time, the period, but to think for the future. And Milan was very underloaded compared to the business tourist potential. And now we are growing on that, so we are not expected to have huge overlapping for the future, and that's the position.
My name is Valeriano Antonioli from Lungano Collection. I've seen that we have 1,200 airports in Italy, but I fear that today most of the people here know that flying from and to Italy intercontinentally, it is a challenge. Are we going to plan any improvement with Milan Airport or some other major airport in Italy?
Well, no problem for the Expo. I mean, the topic of airports is always on the table and so on. But for Expo, we already spoke at the beginning about the agreement Open Sky. So we are sure that we can increase, we can also double for the 6 months the incoming flights. So we overcome everything connected with the bilateral agreement for the 6 months. We have been able to get that. And that is sure, I can say, because it's not an estimate or a wishful thinking, it's reality for that period. So that can be to remove some constraint to the flows of tourists. That can be.
Alfredo would like to add
After
something.
that will be the business of. No, that is not a problem, because it's a problem for the Italian tourists, but on the airport we are really increasing because we still have some capacity with many airports. It's not so. Yeah, but from Milan to Rome is much better to go by train than by.
You don't need to go by plane anymore.
Well, but you need to come from the rest of the
Where
world.
you come from, yeah, depends.
It depends where you're coming from, and depends if you move inside and outside.
And depending where you come from, let me just add that obviously Alitalia is somehow involved in all this discussion. And what I can say on this side is that we've been supporting the Alitalia turnaround. Hopefully we will succeed, involving also some international investors. Let's see, but I think this is an important point which is going to affect the future of course, of the industry and transportation impact.
There was a question in the gentleman over there. Two.
This is a question for, my name is Guido Castellini, Italia Turismo. About the, I'm very pleased to understand that UniCredit is actually considering management agreement instead of just lease agreement. My question is, how are you dealing with the bank guarantee? Because usually the problem of management agreement was that usually it's not conceived a bank guarantee, and usually the bank were not willing to finance those projects because there was not a bank guarantee. Fiduzione a prima richiesta.
Yeah, this is obviously an important point. Let me say that it depends on the specific situation. So this is not a must in all situation. Typically, we need it where we lack the factors that I was mentioning before. So mainly a clear track record of the sponsor, which is supporting, and the operator, which is supporting the cash flow projection on the basis of which we are financing the hotel. Secondly, is it a new one where you need a ramp up, so you can basically see it as a startup financing, which clearly has a higher risk, or you are financing the renovation or new investment on a already existing and performing hotel. So on the basis of these, you can then have the final answer where you need or not a bank guarantee. So we can be open to say taking the full risk, but of course we need to have the right tick the box, let's say, on the other side I was mentioning before.
Thank you. Gentleman over there.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm with a company, Honeywell, that's heavily involved in energy management systems. I just came from two countries, Cyprus and Greece, where they have a program now kicking off. My specific question is, do you have also any government programs to help with energy saving systems in the upgrades? You're talking about an enormous amount of refurbishment, where there are incentives, financial or whatever, for the upgrades of those hotels. Do you see energy as a big part of your program as well?
I think this is a wishful thinking for everybody, but is there anybody in the panel who can answer to this quite technical? Maybe Justin, you have an opinion on this?
I mean, from our perspective, we've obviously been involved in a number of renovations in Italy recently, and as part of that, we holistically look at the refurbishment process and try to make sure that we incorporate the latest and greatest energy-saving techniques. I mean, as a company, we have a goal to cut energy consumption across our hotels by 20% by 2020. So any renovations we do, we naturally look at energy-saving materials and different methods of implementing those in the hotel.
Is there actually any government program? Like I've just come from, as I said, those two countries, and they are actively promoting this to assisting the complete refurbishment of their resort hotels and these things. So assist with the capital investments.
Well, the only thing, well, from the banking side, what I can say is that the 300 million euro financing platform I was mentioning before is one of the guideline for the use of this platform is energy saving investment. So part of it we will focus on this kind of investment, but obviously this is a private initiative, it's not a government led or sponsored initiative.
So I see that, I know that as an association we presented to the minister the importance of the energy saving, but for the moment the problem in Italy that is that our government has not enough money to spend, and even if it's clear that energy is one of is something important, not only on under the economic, like financial and economics problem, but also for the interest of the environment. And we will work with the new government in order to obtain something, but I'm not sure.
Well, thank you. If you haven't got any question, I think. Oh, that's. Please, you're welcome.
I'm coming back to the Expo. You have a new government. I'm coming back to the Expo next year. You have a new government. The former minister, president, he made a lot of speeches and he was pushing the Expo. Then the commissioner, the Expo commissioner, he went to Washington. America hasn't signed the pavilion. Turkey has cancelled the participation. You need 140 you're expecting 142 countries to participate. So far, I think the latest I just checked is about 90 countries are participating. So how are you going to make this gap because the little time left, because it starts next year, 1st of May. So how are you going to fill this gap?
Joseph, I think you are the ambassador. I think they were mad.
I think that we have in this moment 146 countries to participate in Expo. Turkey, in reality, is renegotiating in this moment the price. This is the situation. Okay. USA, I think yesterday I spoke with the CEO of Expo, and he said to me that the accordings with USA it's close. This is my information. Okay. This is my information. I don't know another. Okay.
Well, let's hope so. I would like to thank you.
No, there was nothing.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning. I'm Paolo Biscioni. As you know, we do have now a new cabinet, new government, and on some of the interviews I have heard, particularly with the new Minister of Tourism and Culture, and also in the cabinet of Prime Minister Renzi, I have heard officially that the budget, the PR budget from the regions will be cut, and the regions will have a budget only to invest on the Italian market, locally. The budget they had for abroad will be centralized in order that the promotion should be done in a better way. Have you heard anything about this?
Joseph, would you like to? You didn't get.
Is the budget going to be centralized and not?
Well, the tourism organization in Italy is very complicated. This is the reality. There exists a budget, a national budget to promote the country. But basically, the tourist promotion organization is with the regional different budgets. In this moment, there exists a good level about the collaboration about the different regions with a tool that is the Conferenza Stato-Regioni. And this objective, this tool is to coordinate the different strategies. L'unica cosa che non ho capito, stavo facendo altro, non ho capito.
Excuse me, I try to answer. It's very strange for us to have questions on what happened really last night and not yesterday, because we have a new government and something is changing also from the point of view of our national law for elections and so on. So the role played by regions is changing. We still don't know what is going on. Something will go on, but what is happening since, I'm not just to speak about wishful thinking, of course we are moving in such a direction, but what is relevant is now that what was done by different regions now, we will be put together. So from the point of view, according to the money constraints we do have, but something will be, if we move from the region region, it will be done at the central level, but does not change from our point of view that. We have other reasons we can discuss on thousands of things, but from this point of view, we can be sure that what was done by the region now will be done from a global point of view, but doesn't change. That is, the point is to go to see what will go on, but we cannot say anything of what happened really last night or this morning. This is the point on the Renzi government. So nobody can tell because they are still working on that.
Thank you, Magda. Marco Rota-Tragliani would say something?
Yeah. Before you thank us for participating, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Marco for taking the time every year to organize this event. I think it's a really valuable event for all of us. So thank you very much, Marco. A couple of considerations very, very quickly from what has been said today. The first one is system. I think that there is a real, sort of refreshing air, a good appetite. This is what we see for investment in Italy coming back. And I think we have to sort of take advantage of that. It means that there are competitions, there are players, but when it comes to promote Italy as a country, we have to act as a unified team, as a country, to enhance sort of visibility and so on. So opportunity like this conference, not only this session, but the conference altogether, is for all of us to play, to try to enhance, sort of market visibility for the benefit of all of us. Considerations are basically these. I personally am convinced that the time when value was created only on leverage and tax structure is definitely over, or at least it will be over for quite a long time. Then mankind nature is to go back to the same mistake, but I think it will be over for quite a long time. So it was very important for me to hear that there are important banks that are allocating funds to finance restructuring and renovation. That is absolutely fundamental, not only in the hotel business, but in a lot of other real estate line of business in Italy at the moment. I would actually service quality, because service quality is another key factor. And I'm not saying that as a lawyer, but as a client of many hotels, because I've been traveling a lot also on business, and again the time is over. We have always thought that people are coming in Italy just because we are a very good country. Yes, we are, but the decision of tourists are made also on different bases at the moment. So this needs to be also taken into consideration. So refurbishment, renovation, and quality of service. And we go back to brand manager. I think brand managers can play a very important role with that. Although I don't completely agree with the fact that one option or the other is the right thing. We tend to maybe try to capitalize on mistakes sometime and decide that what was done in the past was wrong, and then we have to completely switch. The reality very often is in the middle. There are good owners and good brand managers, and the important thing is to look at the project on a single basis, in my opinion, at the end of the day. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Marco. Alfredo, you want to?
Yeah. I fully agree. I mean, we focus on a specific project. So at the end of the day, there's not the perfect recipe. There's no magic in the capital structure for doing the right deal. So in the end, as always, you get the value out of operating enhancement, and the value creation comes from there. Will not come from leverage or the financing side. and we will focus on projects. We'll support new projects. I was just wondering, and mentioning to Marco, that last night after the Oscars night, I thought, well, I mean, the great beauty is, is still here, is still in Italy, maybe with some decadent flavor, but we still have it, and we need to have the courage to sustain it and relaunch it. We will do our part, our role, we'll play our role.
Well, very optimistic way to close our panel, unless we have other questions from the audience. I thank you so much for being attentive. Thank you to all the panelists for their cooperation. And